Math, a word that either makes you feel comfort or terror. How Cobb strives to make it better for all is our topic of discussion today on the Inside Scoop. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Inside Scoop. I'm David Owen. Once you get a chance to hear this podcast, be sure to pass it along to a friend who also might find it helpful. Every so often we hear the phrase, the new math. But the reality is math doesn't change. It's only how we teach and understand it that involves change, and some change is coming. So here to tell us about the new math core are two of Cobb's finest, Dr. Ashley Kennedy, Director of Instruction and Innovative Practice, and Dr. Michelle Mikes, Supervisor of Mathematics. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So why don't we just start briefly, if you will, each tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
I'm Ashley Kennedy. I'm the Director of Instruction and Innovative Practice. Math is one of several core content areas that are within the department, and I have the opportunity to lead alongside the content supervisors to provide our schools with timely professional learning, meaningful content and resources, and overall just to support student achievement across the district.
Okay, that's wonderful. All right. Michelle, what about you?
Well, as math supervisor, I'm responsible for the instructional support for all of our teachers for kindergarten through 12th grades and make sure we have a balanced math program for our students.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. So we're talking about the new math core, right? But there's some terminology out there like, math standards and math curriculum. Can you help sort all of that out, one of you? I'm not sure who to pitch this to. Would this be your question?
So I'll kick us off with really just reiterating our Cobb commitment to balanced math instruction.
Okay. Now, what do you mean? I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you say balanced math instruction, that's yet a new term. What do you mean by that?
Really, the gist of it is that our students understand the how and the why. That is our commitment in Cobb County School District.
So it's not that the math has changed, like I said earlier, it's not the math has changed, it's just how they understand it and making sure they understand what's going on with the math, right? Is that more or less?
It's true. Our standards have changed, and they have to change with society. So, like our students now learn about linear programming, and we don't learn as much about the volume of pyramids anymore because who needs that?
Well, we stopped building pyramids a while back, I believe. That makes sense. So when we're talking about standards versus curriculum, can you help us understand that difference, Michelle?
Sure. So standards are what our students are learning.
Okay.
So it's just a set of standards, a set of, our students are learning how to compute with fractions. That's what our students are learning. The curriculum is how you go about teaching it.
Okay.
So it's what is laid out for teachers, what they follow to teach that set of standards.
Okay.
But our teachers in Cobb County have a lot more autonomy on how they teach the math standards.
And that's just for the purpose of what? Catering to each child's need? It
is about differentiation for our students, and we have a very large county. And so we have developed teaching and learning frameworks for all of our teachers for every course. And that is basically their curriculum.
Okay.
It tells them in what order they're teaching the standards, how long they're spending on those standards.
So when you say framework, that sounds like a buzzword. What does that mean? Ashley?
So really you could, I would say, like a roadmap. So let's say a third grade teacher is planning for an particular unit. They're looking at the learning objectives, the amount of time that it's going to take to teach those learning objectives, and then they're making their plan to best meet the needs of all students.
So what are some practical examples of these that we might see in the classroom? Michelle?
So with our students, we want to have that balanced instruction, and we want our students to learn conceptually, which means understanding the how and the why behind the math. And then we want them to have those skills in practice, still happens in the classroom.
Okay.
And then also applying the math. So we will have our students doing investigations in class. They'll be working collaboratively in pairs or possibly individually, integrating technology. You're going to see all those components because we want the balance.
Okay. Well, that's excellent. Ashley, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
I would just add, as Michelle has mentioned, a highly engaging, interactive, application-based classroom is what you would see.
Okay. So if the kids aren't engaged, it kind of doesn't matter what you're teaching, right?
Exactly.
Okay. We've been, we're talking about the new math core package. How does that relate to the standards? Academic standards are like a baseline. Is that correct? Elaborate. I'm sorry to interrupt. Elaborate, if you will, a little bit more on how the new math core relates to the Cobb or Georgia standards.
Well, simply stated, the core package aligns to the Georgia mathematics standards. Our goal was to ensure that we developed a core package that teachers felt would be meaningful and enhance the lessons and units that they're planning for. But as a school district, it's very important for us to ensure that they, in fact, align with Georgia math standards.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, and I would add that the Georgia K-12 mathematics standards are foundational skills that our students have to learn. But in Cobb County, we have students who are ready for acceleration. Okay. And we're one of those few counties who do accelerate our kids. So we do provide courses that are beyond what the state provides.
So that's how we get to be an excellent county.
You got it.
And we are known as that across the nation. CTLS is huge in Cobb, right? Is there any advantage for our math core, I guess you'd call it rollout through CTLS? Are there helps involved in CTLS?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. One of the dynamic differences this year when it came to a textbook adoption, a traditional textbook adoption, we actually dismissed that. Textbook companies weren't ready for our standards. And so we played with the idea of developing customized content, first time ever.
Oh, wow.
One of the first counties in Georgia to really go into that direction.
Leading the way.
Yes.
So we have customized content from kindergarten all the way through advanced algebra that follow those teaching and learning frameworks and follow the standards. So we don't have any minutia in our resources anymore that teachers do not teach or that's missing for them to teach.
You try to keep it as relevant as you can. I presume teachers love having that resource. Is that, I mean, obviously it's a company product, so to speak, but is it well received in that regard?
It has been well received.
It has, and I think the benefit is that it's custom. That's a really important word to really make mention of here, is that we've taken the time as a school district to ensure that the resources that our teacher have, in fact, directly align to Georgia math standards and will add meaning and value to the lessons that they're planning.
And they've been reviewed by teacher leaders in Cobb.
Okay.
So it's made with teachers in Cobb.
Yeah, you're not just throwing the latest, greatest fad out there.
Exactly.
It's what's been reviewed. Okay. Well, and this isn't a CTLS commercial, but it's just an amazing resource in general, and then you guys are making great use of that in the classroom even.
Right, and as a part of that, we actually have work texts for our students that were custom made to follow that digital work for kindergarten through advanced algebra. And our teachers have class sets of manipulatives, which are math tools to help with the like understanding.
Blocks and that sort of thing?
Yeah, two-color counters, base 10 blocks, volume, solids, things such as that, to help get across those ideas, those concepts of math.
Yeah.
And included with that, we even have our resources that we've had in the past that were created by teachers and vetted by teachers in Cobb. That they still have access to teach with.
In CTLS.
Yeah, in CTLS Resource Library. It's already been tagged to the new standards.
And that's up to millions, I understand, of assets available. Well, where can parents go to learn more to help support their student with this new math core rollout?
Multiple places. I'll start with, we invite all parents and families to visit the mathematics website. In addition to that, CTLS Parent is a great resource as well. Parents and families have access to any digital content that their students have access to via CTLS Parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would add their primary teacher. They're really the basis of that CTLS platform of communicating with parents on what is going on in their classrooms.
Yeah, they are there specifically to teach your child, so I'm sure they would love to help your child learn the content.
Exactly.
So they would be more than happy to collaborate with you, I'm sure. Well, I'm not sure that everyone feels warm and fuzzy about math and the new core rollout, but I do know that you guys have answered some questions that probably have been lingering or resolved confusion that has been lingering in the minds of parents for quite a while, and that is just understanding what's going on and why is it happening. And it all comes down to Cobb striving for that excellence. So thank you so much for y'all being here and helping to clarify those things. Now, if you found this conversation helpful to you and your family, please make sure to subscribe and give us a like. That helps us get the word out to more families who need this kind of helpful information. And be sure to tell a friend. Thanks for listening to this edition of The Inside Scoop, a podcast produced by the Cobb County School District.